Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Hashem, El Shai, Hashem, Harakak, Dash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And shalom to the whole full elect. This is by Allah, and the title of this video will be determined upon upload. What I want to delve into is something that, through the Spirit, was brought to my mind. And I want to channel it through the scriptures for the sake of edification. So I was just had some downtime. This just popped up on my feed, and this part kind of invoked the idea of this lesson. So I'll play it.
Yeah, we performing for Attica.
Now they switching it. Now they switching it.
No, it's
now
scary hours.
We got shit for the killer. It's our time.
It's just scary hours.
Over there.
You looking bad, nigga.
Ladies.
Hey, what's up?
Ladies.
Yo.
I don't know why you don't think we got shit for the ladies. Yo, Chuck, just give them a medley of the lady shit.
Give him a medley of the ladies shit. That's so simple. But it just made me think of and I'm sure certain brothers, whoever's really into it, may be aware of the whole Versus series where you have popular artists coming together and having a sound clash basically with their discography and all their the old material basically. And basically it's the spirit of the times. The music, is at all-time low in terms of originality. And it's like anyone that made music, any music that is actually generating a hit in these times is rare. But it's like it's been engineered and it's taken from a lot of previous hits in terms of chords, melodies, or just something that a hit from the past used to become a hit. But as well, like this video, all right, like these performers, Lux, basically they're replaying or remaking their old music, selling their catalog, all right, or making money off their old catalog, because that's the generation of where music was somewhat original, all right? But it could be equated to what? An encore, all right? And that's really the first thing that come to mind is the spirit. So let's look up the etymology of the word encore. Encore, you could look it up on Google. The etymology will pop up. But for the sake of the points that are in this Wikipedia page, I'm going to jump from the etymology to the opening paragraph. So it says the word encore, I'm having difficulty pronounce. Encore comes from the French encore, which means again, some more. However, it is used this way in French, but it's ancora in Italian. French speakers commonly use instead either un ettore, another, un rappel, a return curtain call, or the Latin bis, second time. All right? So the ones I want to harp on is again some more. All right? And it depends on what kind of music it is. Something that it just popped to my mind. For example, you have it really comes from dancehall music, the sound systems, wheeling up, forward, all right, where the song starts and then they bring it back and they play it again, all right, a wheel up, all right, or you have someone perform a song and it's such a hit they want to hear it again and again and again, all right. And that's basically what's going on right now with this generation of music. You're hearing it for, as the Latin says, bis, the second time, all right, or even the fourth, third, sixth time, all right. Like Whitney Houston, My Heart Will Go On, was Dolly Parton's song, but obviously she put that flavor on it, all right, and it was somewhat of a success, somewhat more successful than the original. But for the most part, what you're having is these old songs being regenerated or brought back to life, an encore as such, all right, and it's And the reason why I mention an encore is because usually an encore happens when it's the end of the show. But there's a little space, you know, where they say, you know, it's the end of the show, but the crowd, the audience want another performance. So they say encore or whatever, you know, another, all right? And then they perform again. But then ultimately, after that second performance is what? It's the last performance. It's a wrap. And this is basically where we're at right now. We're seeing this kingdom make a second. Everyone's saying encore, you know, and another, give us another. But it's the end of the song, all right? So I'll just read this at the beginning. So it says, an encore is an additional performance given by performers after the planned show has ended. Usually is response to extended applause from the audience. Multiple encores are not uncommon, and they initially originated spontaneously, all right? And this is the thing as well. The time of the Lord making his return and the end of this kingdom, it's in the hand of the Lord, all right? The Heavenly Father set the bounds that he cannot pass, but only he knows the time of when this kingdom will end, all right? And he's given them their little grace to just enjoy this kingdom, but it's ultimately on its way out. Multiple encores are not uncommon, and they initially originated spontaneously when audiences continued to applaud and demand additional performance from the artists after they had left the stage. However, in modern times, they are rarely spontaneous and usually a pre-planned part of the show. All right, so that's the point. So, you know, the point being, as I mentioned, this kingdom is circling the drain and everyone is just getting an encore, but it's only the end of the show. So I got a couple precepts and Lord willing we edify. So this is Ecclesiastes 12:1. So it says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, when the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. All right. So now it's high time to basically turn unto the Lord. All right. The time is short. Before you know it, it'll be a wrap. The famine of hearing the words of the Heavenly Father, and it's on to the next stage. All right. Of the progression towards the Heavenly Father's plans in terms of his prophetic words. All right. So now is the time to get hip to everything that's going on. All right. Verse 2. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. All right. That's this kingdom wrapping up, man. All right. Where everything functioning in a normal society is going to come to a cease. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. All right. The grinding is low. That means the grinding of the mill. All right. And even you can also take that in a sense. Right now you have headed by the apostles of great millstone. What is a great millstone? It's two stones that meet to grind grain into mill. All right. And even then, that the word that's going to go out is going to be brought low as well, because it's going to be, the elect are going to be sealed. There's going to be no need for them to be teaching no more. But it's going to be, you know, time for everything that was said to come to pass. All right. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of the music shall be brought low. And that's the point. The daughters of the music are being brought low. This encore, as you know, you could say, is telling of the time that we're in. All right. We're instructed to measure the times diligently. Now, when that, you know, the music being brought low, all right, what you need to remember as well is the pioneers, all right, they're basically dying out, all right. Michael Jackson, well, James Brown, all these key, I'd say Michael Jackson more so because he died recently and he was known as the king of popular music, all right. Even I was listening to, I believe it was Joe Rogan, because of these bloody shorts now, YouTube shorts. You taking so much information now that you can't even kind of keep a tab on where you actually get it from. He basically said that he heard Michael Jackson get played on a rock station because it was that good, all right? they basically said, we don't know where it is, but it's just that good that we have to play it on our station. He really transcended beyond all bounds of genre, all right? And he was, the musical talent of old was commendable and respected. But today it's not as so, all right? They're dying out, all right? And the music is being brought low. So let me read this as an example. This is Psalms 137:1. This speaks to the character of our people, all right, which they don't have in this modern day era. By the rivers of Babylon, and mind you, this actually was made into a song as well by Boney M, and I forgot the name of the group, Boney M, and it escapes me right now. But it was like a somewhat, reggae influence kind of sound. By the rivers of Babylon, where we, it's just basically, and it's a psalm, all right? It's meant to actually be sang as well. But let's read it. So it says, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept when we remembered Zion, all right? So, this is going back to when, or it's prophetic words speaking actually through, as a psalm of what's to happen, where basically, by the rivers of Babylon, the children of Israel, they wept when they remembered the nation of Israel, right? Yerah Shalom. When they remembered Yasha Allah, all right, the land. And they wept to Zion, all right, when they recorded it, when they were in Babylon. Verse 2, we hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof, the willow trees, all right? If you're familiar with willow trees, they hang really low, all right? And when they grow, accordingly, and I'm saying this because it's reminding me, there was a park, one of the many parks near me. There's one specific one. I don't even want to name it, but basically they had willow trees, man. I remember it was like, it was alien because it's the first time I ever seen willow trees like that. They were so long, you could hide in between the leaves, basically the branches. All right, so I'd imagine these are some serious willow trees that they could hide their harps in. All right, we hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof, for there they that carried us away, this being a point, captive, required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. All right, so they wanted them to basically, be folly demons in that time, all right, and basically sing songs onto them and basically bring mirth. But what did the children of Israel do? All right, they hung their harps. Now, mind you, the Heavenly Father ordained, tells you in the Apocrypha that basically, that he ordained the singers to basically sing before the altar, all right, the praise of the Heavenly Father. So that's why they're saying, as it says, verse 4, how shall we sing the Lord Yahweh's song in a strange land? Yeah, how are they going to sing the Heavenly Father's song in a strange land? They can't do that, all right? That's why they hung it away. They hid their instruments because they said this is adverse to the Heavenly Father, all right? And they had that attitude. As you read on, it says, verse 5, as to the point, it says, if I forget thee, O Yerah Shalom, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Yerah Shalom above my chief joy. Basically, if Jerusalem, Yerah Shalom, isn't our main joy. But guess what? Now we're in a time where the nation of Israel trimmed their ways, all right? They've trimmed their ways for love, all right? They want to be accepted in this modern day kingdom, which is disgusting. That infuriates me. As I talk to individuals on a daily basis or come across individuals, and it fucking pisses me off anytime they desire to be liked by these Edomites, man. It's unsettling, man. But this is the attitude that we had before. It was to the point of, look, man, our talents are for the Most High Power to serve him. And that's the only individual that's going to have, receive these joys. But now what do you have? You have, in this modern day era, beginning of pop music, where there was a movement from gospel music into secular music. You had all the greatest singers, the pioneers, especially in Judah, all right? They basically moved from what? From the church to secular music, popular music. Instead of singing about their love to the Heavenly Father, they sung about their love to a woman, okay? And there was a great change and shift. Now so much to the point that actual infrastructure that was set in place to actually nourish and build so many singers, because no one's in the church no more. You don't have these big singers, and that's part of what? The Heavenly Father, you know, the doors of the music being brought low. All right? But one thing now, this song or the singing of today, all right, it's neither here nor there, because it's a spiritual song that has to be sung, and you don't have to be classically trained to be able to sing that song. So it's the book of Revelations 14:1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion to Zion, all right, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne, before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. All right, and this is the point. You had all these people that have this talent in this earth, but they trimmed their ways and they spent their talent in this world, all right, and received their consolation. But guess what? The elect, they got taught a song that no one else could sing, save they themselves, you know, the elect, all right, of the Heavenly Father, because the Heavenly Father showed them the harmonies, the notes, the chords, the musical, composition, so they could sing it correctly and learn that song and be taken up into the midst of what? The chariots, into Zion, all right? New Jerusalem. Verse 4, these are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they that follow the Lamb, whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and to the Lamb. All right, so with that, man, I guess I may entitle it Encore, all right, or one more. But Lord, when you was edified with that, let's say shalom, shalom.